if you look at all successful Hollywood films, they all follow the same archetypal character plot. The main character, the hero, starts off very ordinary, doesn't like his life, is a little bit lost, confused, maybe a bit anxious, depressed, and has some insecurities. And he eventually fumbles upon some information or has some external circumstance that wakes him up to the illusion that he's living in, wakes him up to the fact that he's not living up to his potential and he's depressed and unhappy. And then from that, he embarks on this journey of self-development, overcoming obstacles, and eventually faces up to his biggest insecurities, overcomes them, and comes out the other end a new person with required knowledge and wisdom. So like you look at Star Wars, The Matrix, Harry Potter, all of these big films that you can think of, all the big franchises, they all follow the same archetypal character plot. And this is called the hero's journey. And this is interesting, right? The reason that we find these films so fascinating, the reason we are so engaged in these movies is because the character plot actually mimics the human psyche. It mimics the way that we're meant to live. Humans have developed through a process of evolution this need to go out and into the unknown and experience the unknown and push past their limits of insecurities and anxieties to gain new knowledge and wisdom so we can carry on evolving. And it is built deep into our subconscious. It's like built deep into the human psyche to go out and explore the unknown and to unlock our inner potential. And the reason we often feel like anxious and depressed and so lost in life is because we're not following and embarking on this hero's journey ourselves. We're in the ordinary part of life. We're in the start of the hero's journey where we are ignorant to the fact that we need to improve and we need to go out there and push ourselves out of our comfort zone. And nothing grows in the comfort zone. If you continue to stay in this comfort zone, if you continue to stay in this anxiety-filled, this depression-filled state that you're in, it's just going to get worse. And until you actually take action towards enlightening yourself to new information and also taking actions and steps towards pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, you're going to stay in this ordinary stage of your life that you're so depressive about. There's an amazing quote which is, most men live quiet lives of desperation. And I think that's so true. We don't seem to ever admit to ourselves how unhappy we are. We stay comfortably numb. But this hero's journey that has been outlined by Carl Jung and a guy called Joseph Campbell is so crucial for us to start and embark on, and it gives us a nice framework to know that if we actually start moving towards our insecurities and our anxieties and go and explore the unknown instead of staying in our box of comfort the whole time, then we can actually see a way of improving, and it offers a framework of doing that. It gives you step by step the things that you're going to come across when you go and embark on this journey, and this is what I'm going to go through today. So in this episode, I'm going to discuss the hero's journey and how we can utilize the theory that got popularized by Joseph Campbell and Carl Jung into our own lives and go on our own hero's journey to overcome our deepest insecurities and our anxieties. So it's interesting, right? If you think of like the hero's journey in films, it normally follows 3 parts. So you've got like an act 1, which is like 25% of the film, and it's made up of the character first living his ordinary life and then being enlightened into some information that wakes him up that his ordinary life isn't good enough. And then he goes on, continues, has a bit of self-doubt, doesn't take any action, but eventually meets a mentor. And this mentor is someone who awakens him to the fact that he can go out and achieve better things. And in this modern day, we can use this mentor as maybe online information. You could use it as the podcast you listen to or the YouTube videos you watch. That is being used as information that's enlightening you to a fact that you can live a better lifestyle. Then we go into stage 2 where like the hero goes and he pushes out of his comfort zone. He finally takes the action. Then he comes through adversity and he learns that, and then he faces the hero. He faces the thing that's making him fearful. And then act 3 is him learning the lessons and bringing it back to his normal life. So I'm going to go through and break down all 3 parts in a very like detailed manner. But before I do that, I want to discuss why I'm actually talking about the hero's journey today. And I think it's not just important for a male's development, and also females, everyone, for your personal growth, but it gives you an insight into how the fact that we are these organic beings who are constantly in flux and constantly have to be exploring the unknown. Just think of the way we evolved, right? We are nomadic animals. We were constantly moving, constantly putting ourselves in different scenarios. And the way we live in our current society is we stay doing the same job, living in the same place, speaking to the same people day in, day out. Rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. And what happens is our days and our lives turn into a habit, and we become so unaware of the choices we're making and how we're feeling that we've got this massive disconnect between what's actually happening in our life and what we want to achieve. And you need to be attuned into these feelings. You need to start realizing that I can't keep living on habit, otherwise my whole life's going to pass. So where do I want to go, and what steps can I take to start embarking on that journey to get to where I want to go? And that's why I think you can use this hero's journey, the theory of the hero's journey, as kind of a framework to set you off on that path. So let's get into it. So the first stage of the hero's journey is the ordinary world. And this is a stage that we're probably a lot of the people listening to will be in at the moment. It's where you're living a life that you're content with, you're comfortable, but you're not very happy. Maybe you suffer with anxiety, maybe you suffer with depression, you get stuck in ruts all the time. You are aware that there's a problem, but you're not aware of what the problem is. You know you feel uneasy, you know something's missing, but you're just not quite aware of what that thing is. And you know there's more to life, but you're just not going out and taking any action on it, or you've not come across any information that's woke you up to the fact that you can go down a different path and live a life that you want to live. So you're in the ordinary world, you're doing your day-to-day habits, you're in a habitual way of behaving and thinking, and nothing new is happening. And then we get to stage 2, which is the call to adventure. This is where there's a certain part in your life where there's an interruption with your day-to-day life. Maybe some big event happens, one of your family members dies, you have a massive social anxiety attack, you realize, you just get this stark realization that you're not happy with where you are. Maybe you come across a bit of information, you watch this podcast, or you listen to a podcast before that describes and articulates perfectly how you're feeling right now, and it snaps you out the illusion of living the day-to-day life, and you get this stark realization that you want to be somewhere else, you want to live a different life. And that's the call to the adventure. It's the first insight into, well, there's something else out there, the unknown wants to be explored. It could be something as you just get the idea to go traveling. Like you've been working and you've got this idea that you want to go traveling. It's just sitting in your mind over and over again that I want to do something different. I want to start a new job. I want to go traveling. I want to get on the dating market. These thoughts are just playing over and over in your mind, and that's the call to adventure. But then there's the next stage, which is the refusal of the call. This is where your self-doubt takes over your mind, and it tricks you into thinking that you can't go out there and do these things. So let's say traveling, for example. I wanted to go traveling for years before I did, but I always had this nagging anxiety that I wasn't confident enough to go. I couldn't look after myself. Or what would I do if I went traveling? I need to stay at home and earn money first. And this call to adventure that was like asking me to go out and do something different was getting masqueraded, and I was procrastinating on it through the lens of the refusal of the call. I was letting my insecurities and my self-doubt get in the way. Same with going and speaking to women or having a date in life. I was always coming up with excuses. I had this feeling that I wanted to go and meet loads of women and go on dates and speak to all these different women, but there was excuses coming up in my mind, like they're going to think you're weird. You need to get shredded first. You need to start earning money first. All these excuses were stopping me from taking the actions, and that was a refusal to the call. Whatever task is calling, whatever adventure is calling you, your self-doubt is louder than that task. The next step is meeting the mentor. And in this day and age, this can be a podcaster, this can be someone online presence, or it can be someone who's actually a friend of yours or someone who you look up to. And what this does is, when you meet this mentor, they enlighten you with some information that gives you the the motivation to go out and finally take the first step. They show you what's truly possible. They give you that extra bit of wisdom to give you the confidence that you can go out there and achieve something. And through seeing this person, you realize what's possible, and you realize that if they've managed to do it and they told me how to do it, then I can do it as well. And sometimes this can be like you just look on Instagram and you see someone traveling who you know well and you know has been living the same life to you in this habitual way of behaving, is stuck in a rut, and you've just seen them living a different life and they're a different person now. And that then has unlocked the part of your mind. It's given you the extra bit of information you needed to go and take the action. So you need to seek this out. If you're starting out on the ordinary world, stage 1, you need to go through this framework of I'm talking. The call to adventure, realize what your intuition's trying to tell you to do. Realize that you're going to go to a refusal to call. There's going to be self-doubt stopping you there. And seek out people who have done the things the intuition is calling you to do. Go and see people who are traveling. Speak to people who have done different things, because this information and this inspiration you're going to get from these people is going to enlighten you to taking action. It's going to give you motivation and clarity of I can do this, and it's going to push you in a direction that you're going to actually take action. So that's the first act. So let's go on to the next stage, which is crossing the threshold. This is when you eventually first take the first step towards pushing yourself out your comfort zone. This is often like changing environment. I find changing your environment is the biggest way to do this, but it could also be pushing past certain barriers in your mind. So let's say you've been procrastinating on a date in life or going to the gym. This is the first time you message a girl. This is the first time you go on a date. This is the first time you go to the gym and do a workout. This is the first time you enter a new country after saying you've wanted to travel for a while. And in this stage, everything that's comfortable and familiar, all the known, gets blown out the waters, and you've got no preconceived judgments about what's going on. You are completely in the unknown, and you are lost. You don't know what to do. And through that, this leads on to the next stage, which is tests, allies, and enemies. Once you get out your comfort zone, once you take that first step into the unknown, you're going to get to a point where you're going to face obstacles. You're going to face new scenarios that you're not used to because you've lived in the same manner for so many amounts of years. You're going to be in a new country and realize that people don't speak your language and you have to find your way around. You're going to learn skills from that. You're going to get out in the dating market and speak to women and be like, I don't normally interact with women like this. What do I have to do? What am I doing wrong? How do I act and behave? You see your flaws, you see your capabilities, you develop skills and assets, you meet friends along the way by doing this. By constantly pushing yourself out your comfort zone and learning and getting adversity chucked at you and adapting to these scenarios, you're getting these little wins. Every little bit you do, whether it be you just speak to a woman, or you speak to a new person, you have one conversation, there we are, you've had a test, you've learned that you can do this, you've learned what not to do, you've shown your brain that scenario is not something to be fearful of, and you're adapting to these different scenarios, and you get the tests, the allies and the enemies. You have things that come up and fight against you, you have things you learn from, and this is so important because these little wins are all building up for the bigger confidence that's going to come from you taking on this hero's journey. Stage 3 is approaching the inner cave. Once you've pushed yourself out your comfort zone a little bit, you've gone to a new country, you've approached a few women, you've maybe been on a few dates, there'll be something that's really fearful for you. Something that makes you really anxious and scared. For me, it would be like going out and actually having an intimate relationship with a woman. That before would have scared the shit out of me. That would have scared me to death. But first, I would have had to build up the idea of speaking to women. Would have had to build up the idea of going out there and going on a few dates, learning how to flirt properly, do all the things that come with just interacting with women. When it's traveling, it might be finally going solo traveling. You've been with someone for a while, and now you want to go on your own and experience what it's like to fully be responsible for yourself. Maybe it's with a new job. You've maybe looked on the market. You've gone to a few interviews. Maybe you've stepped out into that unknown. You've been in the interviews, but now you've been offered a job and you've got to take the plunge. This is where you're going to sense the most amount of danger. Your fear and your anxiety is going to go through the roof. Your ego is going to tell you that you can't do these things. You're not going to be able to manage the insecurities and anxieties that come up from this. Might be a new job. It'd be like, wow, you've been in this job for so long. You've been on a few interviews and you've just been offered this one. Don't go now. Don't go because the grass isn't always greener. What about if you don't like this new job? And there's going to be so much self-doubt that comes back in, stopping you from taking action. And then the ordeal happens. That's when you tackle it head on. You go into that. You go and have that intimate relationship with that woman that you've always been scared of doing. You open up and be vulnerable with a woman. You go out and go to a social situation that you've not normally done before. You go out and meet new people. You go to the gym. You start smashing workouts. You get that new job. You start your first day. And this ordeal is going to be the unknown consuming you. You're going to get so pushed back by what you don't know that it's going to force you to adapt so quickly. And then it leads on to the next step, which is the reward. The reward is once you've got through the ordeal, you've been through the big task, the thing that makes you struggle. You've been through that now. You've literally got through it. You've made it through adversity. And what comes from that is your ability to be confident in yourself, the new skills you've learned, the assets you've developed, everything that's come back from you. You've developed all this new way of thinking and feeling. And you're going to continue to learn and grow, but now you've got through the big stage, the big fear, you broke through that. You've entered the cave and got the treasure. This is the biggest part because outside of your comfort zone is where you learn the most about yourself. And you'd be surprised how amazing humans are. They can adapt to anything. You don't know how capable you are until you go out your comfort zone. And we tend to think that things are bigger than what they actually are and we can't manage things. But if you put yourself in a scenario and like you go and cold approach loads of women, or you go on a date and you go here, you go to a new job, you'd be surprised how quick you pick things up just because you forced yourself to go and do it and you've been proactive. And humans are amazing. Our brain is made to solve problems. So all these little problems that arise from this big insecurity that we've got, our brain will solve it so quickly. And then we've got this skill of solving problems. We've learned how to deal with a new scenario. We're constantly growing. Your identity is getting larger and larger, and you're dealing with more things. You're going to become the person that goes out and achieve things. And it's so important just to push past that end and get towards a point where you can actually be confident in yourself. And that comes through the hero's journey. And then the last act is the road back. So the road back is when, right, you've just tackled the big insecurity. You've been through the job. You've got the job now. You've done the first week, first day, first week. And you're starting to settle back. And now you need to bring all the lessons back to your ordinary life. And on the way back, you're going to struggle. There's going to be inflated egos. There's going to be more insecurities and anxieties that come up. But now you've been through the big insecurity. You've blasted through that one big fear of yours. You have now got the tools to develop with these in an easier manner. This is going to be a lot more simple for you to carry on through life. You've now learned loads of things and you're on your way back to an ordinary life again with more wisdom and confidence in yourself and knowledge. And then the last bit is the return with the elixir. This is when you go back to the ordinary life. You finally settle into this new comfort zone. Your comfort zone has expanded massively, and now this is becoming your new comfort zone. You settle down with new wisdom, new knowledge. You've been profoundly changed. You're no longer anxious anymore. You can speak to women. You can have sex with women. You can be in an intimate relationship with women. You can go up and meet new people. You can go to the gym and start a conversation with the guy next to you without being anxious. You've started a new job. You're earning money online. Whatever this is, this hero's journey that you've defined and gone through, your new ordinary is the thing that you set out to achieve at the start. And then you have to go again. You have to start another hero's journey, pushing yourself out your comfort zone in a different aspect of your life, a different avenue you must go down and improve that of your life. And every different skill set and lifestyle choice we can do all have their own different hero's journey, and all these are fluctuating at all times. But the longer you stay in your comfort zone, the more the insecurities build up. So we need to be constantly on a hero's journey. So what I would say to people is define one part of your life that needs to be drastically improved. And you can tell by your intuition. Stop and be still for a minute. Stop being distracted and listen to what you truly want to do. So like if I'm real with myself, I've got this like urge to go to India. I don't know why, but my intuition's telling me to go to India and go up to the mountains and like meditate, become a monk. And I'm not listening to that. That's a call that's telling me to go. So I'm in the refusal to call stage at the moment. And this refusal to call stage can last for a while. And for me, I've got other priorities that I want to do first. I want to earn money. I want to make money online. I want to sort my family out financially. So the refusal to call stay in there. But eventually I'm going to have to answer that refusal to call. And it's scary. Imagine I'm literally going to get a backpack on, leave my phone at home, and I'm just going to go straight to India and go up to the mountains. And I'm just going to see what happens. And I know that's something I need to do. I'm not going to do it yet, but it's a refusal to, I'm refusing to call to that. Maybe that's the thing I need to do for my growth right now. So what is it that you need to do? Is it start a dating life? Do you want to like start having a more abundant, rich and dating life? Do you want to have a better social life? Do you need a new job? Do you want to start making money online? Define this and start and embark on your own hero's journey. And you're going to go through these stages. Do some research on the hero's journey and realize that these stages you're going to go through, and they're not always in structure. It doesn't happen like this. They sometimes fluctuate and you go through ones at different times. But realize that you're going to hit these different adversities. You're going to hit these different points of the hero's journey, and you're going to learn about yourself in each one, and you're going to develop and grow as a person. So be still, be calm, be mindful, and define where you want to go and what is your own hero's journey you're going to embark on. So people, that was my episode on the hero's journey. I hope that helps. I've actually really enjoyed talking about that. Been reading, I've not been reading actually. I read The Hero with 1,000 Faces by Jospeh Campbell. This was about 5 months ago. And he was the guy that popularised the theory of the hero's journey. And I've read it into like Carl Jung and that as well. And it just really makes sense to me how like everything you learn and every time you grow, it follows the same sort of archetypal character plot. So yeah, it's amazing. And Jung has really figured out what the mind's about. So anything that comes from Jung is probably something that's worth reading into or listening to. So yeah, definitely take it into account, the hero's journey, and it's a good way to like set up a framework of improvement for yourself. Like if you've got social anxiety, or if you're just not happy with your life, plot down your own hero's journey. Like I'm going to start my hero's journey in this aspect of my life, and I'm going to go and go with it, and don't let your logical mind stop you. Don't let the ego stop you. Just let the intuition follow and kind of let life flow. And that's what I recommend, people. So go and do your own hero's journey. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And yeah, I'll see you all whenever I shoot another episode.